guide. The dancer is not really one of the best class jobs of the entire game, but thanks to one of its dances, it is actually one of the most powerful abilities in the entire game for physical attackers. But that is assuming if you love randomness. Hi, I'm Storm331. This is take two after I screwed up on my first attempt on the guide, so we're gonna do this all over again. Anyway, the dancer is one of the four final jobs you get with the Earth Crystal at World 1, and it's technically not one of the strongest jobs you get in the entire game. I mean, it's technically not one of the best, unfortunately. In terms of modifiers, you get +5 on strength, +5 on agility, -10 on stamina, and -5 on magic. So in other words, it's not a very good job in terms of stat modifiers, but you're basically mostly going for the dance ability, which we'll be covering in a minute. So we'll start off on getting the abilities out of the way. Flirt is the first ability that you get as a dancer upon getting the first level out of the way. It will attempt to charm enemies and stop them from attacking. This ability is actually usable in the GBA version against X-Death, but it does not work on the Pixel Remaster version, unfortunately. So it's not very useful, and by the time you get into World 3, most enemies are going to be protected against confusion for the most part. Dance is the second ability that you will get with this job in regards to this job, and you will have that immediately once you switch to this job, actually. Dance gives you 4 different outcomes depending on which ones you use. Jitterbug is essentially a drain move. You'll drain HP off of your target. I think it's based off magic, but if anyone knows the formula for Jitterbug and Waltz as to how much you get from the target, feel free to hit me, explain that in the comments. Just make sure you do not use it against undead enemies. Mystery Waltz is pretty much the same thing as Jitterbug, but it targets MP instead of HP. Tempting Tango is basically dance to inflict confusion. And Swords Dance, which is the final and the most coveted dance you want to see happening most of the time, inflicts 4 times damage. And basically, you'll definitely want to see that more often. Now, equipping any of the dancer gear, namely the Lima's Tiara, Rainbow Dress, or the Red Slippers, will enable you to replace Tempting Tango with Swords Dance, so that will improve your odds of triggering it by at least up to 50%. It does not stack. And this is just something I just recently learned when I was talking over at on one of the channels I was watching for Forge Job Fiesta recently. Now, in terms of abilities, what you could do is, well, actually, the final ability you get with Dancer, my apologies, the final ability with Dancer is Equip Ribbons. This not only allows you to equip the ribbon helmet, which gives you protection against all status elements and give you +5 on most of your stats, but it also allows you to equip all the dancer gear that you would be assigned to the dancer. So if you want to give your job the dance, give them dancing equipment or whatever, you'll give them equip ribbons, and they can equip the dancer gear as well. But it has very, very little use other than equipping the ribbons. Anyway, in terms of usable abilities with this job, there's only 3 I do know that will work with the dancer. Jump from Dragoon will actually work well with the dancer, and that's because if you find the Man-Eater, you can it'll deal more damage when you perform a jump. So dancers actually get a little bit more mileage from the Dragoon's jump, as I mentioned in my previous guide for the Dragoon. One of the more recent things I discovered through conversations and whatnot is that Dancer actually loves having access to barehanded. And this is because when you get in addition to getting the Monk's 26 strength and fight barehanded, when you perform Swords Dance, you get 2 attacks with 4 times damage. And that could be up to anywhere between 6,000 or 8,000 so damage, depending on your levels and whatnot. And that is a very hard-hitting move when it's successfully applied. So basically, you want to get your hands on one of the dancer exclusive gears, equip it to your dancer immediately, and they can start making full use of the Swords Dance. And then finally, since it equips knives, Spellblade from Mystic Knight can also synergize well with Dancers. And of course, the damage increase also applies when you apply Spellblade with Sword Stance. So if you got like strong spells like Holy Flare or etc., you can ensure Sword Stance, you'll deal a lot more damage than you would normally do otherwise. So that's also another ability you can make full use of there. Alright, so that concludes the Dancer Guide. I'm going to take a small break, and then we're going to go cover the White Mage job next. And I'll catch you all in a bit.